ヤリスがヨーロッパのカー・オブ・ザ・イヤーを受賞しました。今回はなんとその審査委員長に話が聞けるということで、ヤリスがなぜ選ばれたのか、その理由に迫ります。
I'm happy to hear the story for the episode of the European Coffee. Thank you for today. まず今回、ヨーロッパのカー・オブ・ザ・イヤーでヤリスが、選ばれたということなんですが、どんなところが評価されたということなんでしょうか。
I think that the key points that made the win for the Yaris being that is, on the one hand, it's a very reasonable car, good volume for money, very good fuel consumption, very clean emissions, and on the other hand, it's very emotional because of the GR version. So this combination, I think, was the key fact that the jury voted strongly for the Toyota Yaris. I think because all the jury members are also petrol heads, they like emotional cars, and therefore the GR was the perfect addition to the regular Yaris.
今ペトロールヘッドっていう言葉が出ましたけれども、豊田章男社長からの応援メッセージの映像というのはご覧になりましたか。
Yes, of course I've seen it. Of course, and I liked it a lot. I mean, he's a petrolhead too. We appreciate that a lot. I appreciate that a lot. I know him for quite a long time already. When we raced together 24 hours. So of course I know he's a petrolhead, and I think that's a very good point for Toyota as well.
そう、具体的にその今回のメッセージのビデオの中では、ヤリスに対するどんなメッセージをフランクさん自身は受け取ったんでしょうか。
Well, it's a car that has been developed involving a lot of emotions, and as Akio always underlines, he wants to bring a smile to the customers' faces, and I think since he is at the top of the company as a president, we have seen a lot of cars that are very emotional, like the GT86, like the Supra. Like the Yaris now, so cars that are very emotional, the cars that are really capable of bringing smiles to customers' faces, and that's a very, very important point.
実際フランクさんご自身も得点を入れていく中でヤリスに一番高得点を入れてくださっていたと思うんですが、一番評価されたポイントっていうのはどんなところでしょうか。
For me, the hybrid system is really the key point in a way to bring the CO2 emissions down. This is the best. I think it's the best solutions at the moment, and maybe still for the coming years. If you don't have the infrastructure to charge a car, then the hybrid system is the best way to bring CO2 emissions down for me.
日本にいてヨーロッパのニュースなどを見ていると、最近その電気自動車の話題というのがよく聞こえていて、電気自動車のインフラ整備がすごく進んでいるっていう話をよく聞くんですけれども、それでもまだハイブリッドが今最適解っていうのが現状なんですか。
Yeah, I see this from a personal experience that if you live downtown and you don't have a private charging point, then you have to go to public charging points, and maybe you don't find one because the cars because the charging point is already blocked. So you need even more charging points, and I don't know where this is going to stop. So infrastructure has increased a lot in the past years, but still it's not enough for charging all EVs and all EVs that we are expecting to come. So I think this could become still a problem rather than a solution.
実際その EV 自身の普及、それからインフラの整備っていうのは最近加速しているっていうのは事実なんですか。
Yeah, they are on the rise. That's what we see at the moment. The sales are rising on a relatively low level, but they are rising heavily. That's what we see. That's what we see here in Europe. The European manufacturers, especially, they bet a lot. They bet heavily on on EVs. But I'm not sure if this is the right way, and I'm not sure if this is the only way that we should take to electrification. I think that still the hybrid system is a very good point, a very good way to electrify mobility, and I think also that fuel cell technology is very important for the future.
今伺ったお話を踏まえて、フランクさんご自身は最近、メイントピックになりつつあるカーボンニュートラルの実現というところに対してはどういったお考えをお持ちでしょうか。
Well, as I said before, I think that the European manufacturers, especially, are betting a lot heavily on electric vehicles and battery electric vehicles, to be precise. Until 2015. Everybody was betting heavily on the diesel to reduce CO2 because the diesel is very good in fuel consumption. But obviously nobody thought about air quality so far. And then suddenly when we had the diesel crisis, then all of a sudden the management of the European manufacturers thought about going a new way, and there was electrification and there was battery electric vehicles because they had no alternative.
これ今後、もちろんまだ2050年というところにまではまだ時間がありますけれども、どんなスケジュールでヨーロッパにおける自動車の状況っていうのは推移していくというふうに見てますか。
Well, I think that for the next 10 years, I think we will have, or maybe 15 years, we will have an increasing market share of battery electric vehicles. Diesels fading out, maybe sooner or later in this or the next decade, and we will still have petrol engines, I think, but on battery electric vehicles we will see maybe quite a strong increase of immatriculations in the market share. So I hope that all the manufacturers will agree on a fuel cell technology and working together on that, also on the infrastructure, because I see the big advantages that the fuel cell technology brings for everybody, and especially for carbon neutrality when you generate electricity by renewable sources.
先ほどヤリスを今回フランクさんが評価してくださったポイントでハイブリッドだと明確な答えをお持ちだったんですけれども、ヨーロッパにおけるという、自動車メーカーとしてのトヨタのイメージっていうのはやはりハイブリッドっていうイメージが強いんでしょうか。それとも他の何か特定のイメージとかがあったりするんですか。
I think so. I think so. It's largely associated with hybrid system, because Toyota invented the system 24 years ago, and they have a lot of experience now with many generations of hybrid systems, and I think it was a very good idea to start early with this system. I was a big fan of hybrid system because I always loved the idea of regenerating brake energy, which was otherwise wasted. So I think it is a good way, and Toyota. Also, there are other Japanese manufacturers who are producing hybrid systems. Toyota did it, I think, with in the most consequent way, and also not only for Toyota but also for Lexus. May I add something? I think we should not forget that regeneration of brake energy is the key. Also for other propulsion systems, it's a key for efficiency for FCVs and for battery electric vehicles as well, of course. So that's the core technology of hybrid systems is the key for future systems.
フランクさんはそういったところを評価してくださったということですけれども、他の審査員の方を見ていて、ヤリス今回どんなところを評価して いるなというふうに感じていますか？
I think the other strong points, but it has a much better handling that that evolved over the time. It is very nice to drive. It's fun to drive. And not only the GR version, so also the basic version and also the hybrid version is really a nice driving car, which fits you like a suit, you know. And I think it has a very clever package as well. So it's a very nice city car, but also you can go long distances with it. So that's, I think, one of the key points that my jury colleagues also liked with the Yaris. And not to forget, it was the cheapest, so best value for money car in the shortlist. So we don't have to forget about that.
フランクさんご自身は普段どんな車に乗られてるんですか？
Apart from test cars that I drive to do my job, we have a family car that's an Audi A4, and I have a 43 years old Ferrari 400 GT, but that's in the workshop most of the time. It's not a daily driver, of course, as you can imagine. And then we use the bicycle a lot. We live downtown Hamburg, so we sometimes take public transport, and we also when we go to Berlin, for example, we normally use the train, because we have a train station, a mainline train station very close by. So Berlin by train, for example, is 2 hours compared to the car that you need 3 hours with. And maybe I need to add that the Audi is the company car for my wife. So that's maybe important to know.
どうなんでしょうか、そのヨーロッパの方の視点で他のヨーロッパの自動車メーカーの車と比べるとどんな特徴っていうのを感じるものなんでしょうか？
What I always appreciated, what I always liked driving Toyota car is this peace of mind feeling that you have with a car that is absolutely reliable, bulletproof, and indestructible. That I really appreciated when driving Toyotas. And in the recent years, also fun to drive has become a very important character of the cars, of the Toyota cars, that I really appreciated. And that is clearly something that Akio Toyota pushed heavily in the years of his presidency.
そのヨーロッパのカー・オブ・ザ・イヤー、その毎年、ね、一つの車が選ばれると思うんですけれども、この過去のヨーロッパのカー・オブ・ザ・イヤーの変遷っていうのは何をこう表している、何をこう象徴しているっていうふうに考えたらいいんでしょうか？
Well, we had some battery electric vehicles early on already. When you remember, the Nissan Leaf was the winner 2011. That was the first battery electric vehicle. But we also we didn't have a continuous row. If you look at the cars, we didn't have a continuous row of electric cars. So I would not say that this is a clear trend. We have seen some of these cars, but then again also conventionally driven cars, and we have seen now as a result in 2021 we have seen the Toyota Yaris, which is the main propulsion system is a hybrid system. So it's not that I could say it's a clear trend towards a propulsion system. I would have loved to see the Mirai on the shortlist, but maybe it's not about time already. It's maybe a little bit too early for a fuel cell electric vehicle to be highly appreciated all over Europe, because in Germany the situation is very good. The infrastructure is already quite advanced, but in other European countries, and we are a European award, in other European countries the infrastructure is not that advanced already. So maybe we have to wait a little bit and see that the infrastructure becomes better. What I would have liked to see those cars coming up a little bit more.
ヨーロッパという市場っていうのは他にも車の市場っていうと大きなものアメリカ、中国、そして日本というところがありますけれども、ヨーロッパ市場の独特特有な性格というか特徴っていうのはどんなところなんでしょうか。
The European market is maybe the toughest market for the most competitive market in the world because we have many manufacturers here in Europe, especially many manufacturers in Germany, where I come from, and Germany is, of course, the manufacturers are very strong in premium cars. So every importer, every manufacturer that comes to compete in this market has to reach a very, very high level of quality and critical customers to convince to buy their cars. So it's really, I think, the most challenging and the most competitive market in the world as far as I can say.
今回要はその市場におけるカー・オブ・ザ・イヤーっていうので結構そのコンパクトカーっていうのがやはり並んでいたと思うんですけれども、コンパクトカーっていうのはそういう意味では競争が激しい市場の中でも競争が激しい分野なんですか。
Absolutely, because there's a price limit for these cars. You cannot spend endless money on compact cars. The buyers would not accept this. So there's also this price level, this price barrier that stops at a certain point. The prices where unless when you think about premium cars, there are some buyers who can pay any money for a car, but in a compact segment, there's a natural limit, and that makes this competition even more fierce. You're completely right.
最後にですね、今回以前からお付き合いもあるということなので、豊田社長に何かメッセージがあればお願いできますか。
Oh yes, please say hello to him, and I follow his work from the distance. Please let him know. We met earlier, and I came to Japan for some of his rare interviews. I would of course love to see him again and to have an interview with him if he doesn't mind. But generally, I would say he's doing an absolutely excellent job on Toyota and on the cars that he encourages the engineers to develop. I think that's an incredible step that he brought Toyota in front with his work and with his encouraging his teams. So I would just say keep on going, Akio-san.
長時間にわたりありがとうございました。
Great pleasure talking to you. Please say hello to Akio, and I would love to see him again. I would really like to come to Japan again when this pandemic is over finally. Keep our fingers crossed for that.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
ありがとうございました。
ありがとうございました。